to keep you awake on those cold winter nights, to keep you on your toes, so to speak. It's freezing in here. Better huddle closely to the fire, my dears. Come on closer. Closer, come on, closer. It was a sharp and snappy night. The heavy frost rhyming the trees and grass all crispy crunchy underfoot. Old Mother Moon looked down on the old forest, her light pale yet strong cutting into the darkness like a scalpel into soft flesh. Oh, and what a scene she looked down upon. What a blooming debacle. Kerfuffles and cacophonies ripped the night asunder, they did. They ripped it right asunder. And what, ladies and gentlemen, what do you think was the cause of all this discord and disharmony? Could it be a wild bear hungry for some fresh meat and bones to crunch and gnaw upon? Or maybe it was a marauding monster intent on murder and mutilation? Well, to tell the truth, my lovelies, which is something I normally abhor, it was none of these things, none of them at all. It was, in fact, little Octavia Raggamuffin. She was refusing to go to bed. Her mother had tried everything, coaxing, enticing, ordering and demanding, but still little Octavia refused to get into her bed. She screamed and cried and threw herself onto the blooming floor, and all she did threw herself right down onto the blooming floor. Ah, but my lovelies, this night was different. Oh yes indeed. On this night, Mother finally gave up fighting, but she left poor little Octavia unstrapped and unchained and went downstairs to the kitchen and began to drink from a bottle of absinthe. Well, pretty soon, Octavia's mother was dancing with the fairies in her head as she slipped away into unconsciousness. Now here's a funny thing indeed. Little Octavia went down the rickety old staircase and into the kitchen, creeping and a-crawling on tippy little toes so as not to wake her drunken mother. She opened the door and looked out at the cold, crisp night, and nary a beat had passed before, bold as sixpence, she stepped right out into the darkness and moved towards the old wood. The same wood where her father had been ate by something nasty some years before. Now, as she stumbled through the thickets and copses, the dingles and the dells, a shadowy shape could be seen following her. Flitting through the bracken and the brambles, it perambulated along in a most unseemly manner. With a limping gait and a sneaking ways, it followed poor little Octavia deep into the dark wood. But little Octavia saw nothing of the thing. She had her eyes locked on Mother Moon, shining bright as a button up in the inky black sky. She heard nothing neither, because her head was full of strange and diabolical music, it was. Absolutely full of dire bleeding bolical music, her head was.
Every evening when I wake, I check to see if I'm a snake. And as I leave my bed and rise, I check to see if I have eyes. For if I have, I then can see, and check once more that I am me. And so I get up from my bed, and check to see if I am dead. I check to see if there are stains from the seepage of my brains, but I see the sheets are dry, and so I sit alone and cry. I do not function well by day, so I wait for light to go away. I feel no joy, I feel no sorrow. I'll stay in bed until tomorrow, and slumber while the day is bright. Get up in the dark of night. Tra-la-la-la-la-la-la. Tra-la-la-la-la-la-la-la.
Soon enough, little Octavia Raggamuffin got very tired from all her cavorting and dancing in the old woods. So guess what she did, my dears? Guess what she went and did? She only went and fell asleep, didn't she? Curled up tight and snug in the roots of an old oak tree she was, a-snoring her little head off. Lost in the woods and far from home, she bloomin' slept like a log, didn't she? And while she was having her 40 winks, ladies and gentlemen, the thing what had followed her into the dark woods sat at her feet and dribbled and drooled from its slobbering mouth.
Tonight, I mustn't think of her. Music, maestro, please. Tonight I must forget how much I need her. Oh, Mr. Leader, play your lilting melody. Ragtime, jazz time, swing, any old thing that helps to ease the pain that solitude can bring. She used to like waltzes, so please don't play a waltz. She does divinely, and I loved her so. But there I go tonight, I mustn't think of her. No more memories. Swing out, tonight I must forget. Music, maestro, please.
When little Octavia Raggamuffin woke up from her slumbers, there was a strange glow coming from the edge of the thicket, and a smell of roasting meat filled her little nose and made her mouth watery. Little Octavia Raggamuffin was drawn towards the glow in the woods, like a moth to a flame. Well, when she got to the clearing, there was an horrible creature sat by a roaring fire. Horrible it was, all gangly and thin. The horrible thing turned to her as she stumbled up to him, his teeth gleaming bright in the dark woods as he smiled at her. She stopped in front of him, her eyes wide and staring, when she saw what it was he was eating. It was a baby, all roasted and cooked. It even had an apple in its mouth. Little Octavia Raggamuffin leapt forward with a guttural growl and sank her teeth deep into the succulent child, drooling and dribbling as the hot meat oozed fat and bloody juices all down her little chin. Little Octavia Raggamuffin spoke her first ever word that night, and as muffled and as unintelligible as that word was to the likes of you and me, ladies and gentlemen, the horrible thing understood her and swept her up in his long spindly arms and kissed her and licked the gravy from her chin.
Father,
She whispered as the blood flowed from the horrible thing's jugular vein into her sharp little mouth. She bit and chewed and wrenched and sucked and tore at the horrible thing's throat, just like her mother had taught her. The horrible thing died badly, a screaming and howling away, to no avail at all, my dears. He died an horrible death by the hands, or should I say the teeth, of his own daughter, little Octavia Raggamuffin. And do you know, ladies and gentlemen, that for the rest of her life, little Octavia lived a quiet and peaceful life? However, my friends, every month, when Mother Moon was shining full, she became a raging beast with a lust for blood. And tonight, ladies and gentlemen, is that time of the month. So be careful on the way home, won't you? Good night.